So when he made his arguments, when Jackson made his arguments, he told the court, I may want to provide supplemental material for this motion based on the new stuff we got from the prosecution. And that's what this is.
Right. I think there were 9 more videos, and there were 15 videos of them taking down the videos or vice versa. And so that's why he came back and argued it Wednesday. And so here it is.
So all of these exhibits were attached, and they include, like Exhibit 2, photograph of condition of right tail light in the garage February 1st, after Trooper Proctor and others at the Canton Police Department had access to the vehicle taillight. Then you see it totally damaged, right? Not just cracked. And then you can see they've, I like Exhibit 4, 47 pieces of plastic. I keep getting that number confused because it seems to grow all the time.
Which is why when we posted a picture, I posted it actually, of you holding one of the pieces of plastic from our exemplar. I said, they're coming to take you away, Michael.
I know.
Now you have 48.
Now when we started covering this with Law and Crime, I began making fun of this then. It's so comical that they would continue to find these pieces over the course of days and weeks after the fact. That I just happen to find them. I don't know how, here's my bag. I've been collecting them. And they just seem to materialize. I thought I had one in my, my cup of, not coffee. Yeah. So yeah,
I knew this was going to be such a show that I ran and I found out I didn't have any Dunkin', so I had to quickly order from DoorDash my Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh my gosh. I think you have perhaps something you need to break that. That sounds like an obsession bordering on addiction. Okay, so
I crack cocaine, my mango tea.
Yeah. Okay, so the photographs of the 47 pieces, that's all wonderful, but the screenshots of the interior Sally Port back wall camera, that's the fun that they're using, and we want to look at some of these pictures here. Remember, why is it inverted? I don't know. It's always been inverted. The whole thing has been inverted. So here's some imagery from prior to, like, let me pull this one up. This one is from January 1st. Okay, January 1st. Hold on, and this will be of the famous. You'll recognize the scene. It's the inverted imagery, but we'll look at the date and we'll look at why the defense thinks we got some splaining to do here, prosecution. Okay, so, and again, these annotations are thanks to Olivia Lambo. She did, I was kind of busy today, so she did some work for us inadvertently. I don't like to steal other people's stuff. I want to give them the full.
We're going to credit it whenever we can. Yeah, right.
Yes. So here it is, and what she or he, Olivia, I don't take anything for granted. What the person is saying is, you can see down here at the bottom, these icons which are used for various
I'm just going to hide this
software programs.
Yeah, I'm going to hide
Adobe. What are you doing?
I'm hiding the comment, the question we're going to answer first.
Oh, okay. Adobe Photoshop, so I can pull it up a little bit to make it a little easier to read. Maybe not. Let's see if I can get a little more room up to the top. That's as far as I can go. So Adobe Premiere, Adobe Photoshop, and this one I'm not familiar with, Aegis Sub. Anyway, these are all programs that if you choose to, you can manipulate the video or the graphic or in this case, we're looking at the time code. So here's the time code. And again, the date 1/1/2022. So roughly a month before the subject images were taken. So you got yellow text there, right? See that?
Right, I see that.
The yellow text. So that will become interesting because, let me move to the one that we're more familiar with. This is from 129. I need to get. Can I get a? What's his name again? Kokomo. I need a Kokomo from YSL. Mr. Kokomo, please. Would you put that up for me, please?
Yeah. So that was the one we saw. The wall. That was on 1/1/2020.
Yes, that's 1/1. And had the yellow.
Back wall. Right.
Yep, has the yellow. So I'm going to find for you here the one that is, I believe this is the right one. We'll find out soon enough. This is from the date, the subject date, and this is still from basically all of the video that was. Come on, help out here. There we go. Okay, so this one again, I'm trying to maybe I can shrink it down. Yeah, there we go. So we can better see the very bottom of it. This has a date. You may not be able to see it, but trust me, where I'm circling there, it says 1/29/2022. What color is that imprint?
Blue.
Yeah, it's not yellow.
No.
Now, I can't understand why, without some sort of manipulation, it would have a different color on it. What kind of camera would just have randomly different text color,
Yeah.
from one date to the next? That seems rather weird. And here's where, even though that is properly, left to right, good old, American English, look at right here on the cop car. You can see the word police. The rest is kind of covered by stuff.
Right.
But it's clearly backwards, which made it so easy to determine this was inverted. And I have a feeling that the pros and all the law enforcement never noticed that, never had a clue. And when they did, they weren't saying a word until Alan Jackson caught them on cross-examination. So that's the question. What is it? What do you think that means? Obviously, the defense thinks it reinforces that the prosecution has manipulated this video.
Right. I mean, I don't know what the explanation is. I mean, there's going to have to be an explanation, but that's the problem with this case. There's so many things that need explaining, right? There's so many things that need explaining. This is a case that does a disservice to the justice system. It does a disservice to John O'Keefe. If he was killed, and it does a disservice to Karen Reed if she's wrongfully accused, right? All of this does a disservice to everything that we're trying to do in a court system with a court case. Everything.
Yep.
So while we look at before you look at the next pictures, Jam asks, why is it okay for the prosecution to show inaccurate photos? I thought I had the same reaction.
What you do is, let's say, this hasn't been seen by anybody, and so you're bringing it to court and you're trying to lay a foundation for it before you enter it into evidence, or even use it as a demonstrative exhibit. And of course, the difference is the jury is not to rely on demonstrative exhibits, and they won't go back to the jury room with them, but they're to help them understand something. No matter what, it has to have some foundation. So you have to call somebody in to say, yeah, this was from this camera. These are routinely captured images. We keep them in the normal course and scope of our work. And there you go. So if that's enough to lay the foundation and it comes in, it's up to the defense then to start tearing it apart and say, well, as Alan Jackson did, what about the backwards letters? And now I guarantee you, if these two images come in and I can see no reason that they don't, right? The one from 1/1/2022 versus 1/29/2022, then you're just going to be grilling whomever lays the foundation. Well, why is the text color different?
But then you're getting back to the issue that we talked about with Richard Glossop. If you have an officer up there and is laying the foundation that these are accurate portrayals of the images as they were taken off the camera, an accurate portrayal of how the camera records them with the wording and the color, how can that possibly be? How can you have somebody do that?
Okay, well, let's break this down further. Maybe they're attesting to the image, right? It's not like the images, but we're talking about the specifics of the printout of the text on the bottom.
Right.
So are we going to have somebody that's going to be able to testify that yes, I'm the one who normally records these things and catalogs them, and it's always been that way, and it's the color seems to vary without reason. I can't wait to hear the explanation for that.
And then here's what Alan Jackson in defense is going to say. The camera that recorded the clearest images, because we know the ones outside and inside were all blurry, but the camera that did record the clearest images, even though it was inverted, remarkably, the Commonwealth thought they had to get rid of it because somehow it wasn't working properly. So they're going to say, well, it wasn't working properly because it was doing things in different colors, right?
Yeah.
I mean that's what's coming.
I hate when that happens, when my camera prints different color graph on the bottom. Yeah.
So how does that, if you don't have the camera anymore, the defense can now check it because the camera is gone. How does, you're putting the defense at a disadvantage.
Yeah, and of course, it makes the prosecution look shifty and shaky and like liars. So there is some benefit to it. But who knows what the jury's going to do with that? Who knows?
Right.
You don't want that even to be in their decision-making process if you can't lay the foundation for it. So we'll see. I think they're all coming in.
I think they're all coming in too, and and it's going to be up to the jury. But then, the Chyron being different colors, and he talks about it has a different color Chyron than 1/29/22 inverted video produced defense on April 24. April 4th, 2024 from the same camera. The discrepancy suggests manipulation and further underscores the prejudice to misread by the Commonwealth's destruction of original files and metadata associated with the download of the video surveillance footage from Canon. I don't see, in a normal case, if you or I, if for instance, you've had 3 trials in the past 2 weeks, you want to bring something in, you have to show that it's true and accurate, right? And you have to show a chain of custody.
Yeah.
Chain of custodies don't, people always say, oh, chain of custody is so boring. But there's a reason for it, to make sure that what the jury is seeing is true and accurate. How does this all come in? And remember, Alan Jackson said he doesn't want it excluded. One of the remedies.
Yeah, of course.
He wants it in.
So you don't want to, when they lay the foundation for both of these, the blue, I'll call the blue, and the yellow, I'm not objecting to their entry into evidence. Bring them in. Because then I'm going after the people to point out to this jury, something ain't right here. Somebody's manipulated these. Why would they do that? Because they're lying, because they're covering something up. And you're not getting the real story.
Right. A respected officer, Queen, asks, and let me just put this up if I can. And thank you, Ms. C, for starring these. I appreciate it. Can the defense use Hank Brennan's lies from the hearings as evidence? You can't. You can't say what the prosecutor said in a hearing is evidence. All right. We try to do it all the time. As a matter of fact, a lot of times you try. Sometimes when you see the DA or a prosecutor make a public statement and say something to the press, and you try to subpoena that as evidence that it is exculpatory to your client or something to that effect, the court say, hands off, that ain't happening. So the answer to that is no. Allegedly, maybe, how can it not be manipulated? Oh, here's, let's see. One picture, the garage door. Well, one picture, the garage door was open, and one picture it's closed, and therefore, what you're really seeing is how the camera perceived the writing, and the writing may change, just like because there's some kind of, I don't know.
Okay, here's my explanation. I can't wait to see if this is what happens. So they bring the custodian in, somebody that has been routinely involved with playing with the camera, setting the camera, because you can go in, obviously, and, when you buy one of these cameras, they don't automatically have the right date and time on them. You go in and you fix that. Well, you also can go in and fix the color. So they decide at some point in that 1 month that the blue is easier to see. I think that's wrong. I think the blue is harder to see. But they purposely changed the color from yellow to blue because it became easier for them to read. And I'm the person who changed that color. That's all there is to it. That's it.